back to Deducation, that Teachers Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney.
are back to talk about another movie. It's been a minute. I
It
feel like,
has.
yeah, it's been a busy around here. I know I've been busy. School's been busy. I know you've been busy. So, listeners, we haven't given up on you. We are still we are still here. I feel like I've recorded 2 episodes on my other show since we
Yeah.
recorded one here. But we'll make up for it next month.
Trust us.
Yeah, we will reveal our October plan. I think we talked about it a little bit last episode, but we'll reveal the true plan when we get there. We're back this week to cover my pick, actually my wife's pick, Eli Roth's Green Inferno from 2013. The cannibal Holocaust,
I was gonna say
Ferox inspired motion picture that I think had the right recipe and just didn't quite get it delivered. But we'll cover all that when we get there. Yeah, this movie, I mean, it was okay. I know we talked a little bit. Go ahead.
It was. I mean, yeah, it was fine. If you're a gore lover like I am, it was gory.
Yeah. It was, and it was
gross.
Yeah, it was gross. But even then, it was like, I don't know. It felt like it could have gone further and just didn't.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll cover that as we go along. Green Inferno is a pretty simple plot, really. It's not even. I mean, yeah, I guess there's technically a plot, but it's really loose and really flimsy. It really is just, it's a vehicle designed to, let's create a scenario to get people into the carnage so that we can showcase the special effects.
Yeah.
And so we meet a college freshman, Justine, whose dad is a United Nations attorney, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because that happens all the time. And she goes to college university. They don't say what college she goes to, and it doesn't matter. But like most larger colleges, there's enough interest in all kinds of different things that there is a student social activism group. You know, where they sit out on the lawn and they don't shave their armpits and they have their picket signs and they just pick something to protest. Mm-hmm. And I always get a kick out of this stuff when they do it, because they protest the stuff in the lawn of the college like that's going to make change.
Yeah, exactly.
People walk, you know, it's like but they've got an idea. Alejandro, the leader of this this activism group, and his girlfriend, who definitely looks like she hasn't shaved her legs for 4 or 5 years. You know, they're kind of they're the leaders of this group, and I don't even remember what the original thing was they were protesting.
It was something, I don't either. It doesn't matter.
But Alejandro, I'll give him credit. Alejandro he gets it to the point of, if we're going to make change, we have to go to the source. And so fast forward, because there's like a half hour of buildup for no real good reason. Justine ends up joining with the group after being denied a couple of times. But she finally gets her way in there, and she joins up with them. They're going to go to the Amazon rainforest, and they're going to stop this chemical company that's clearing forests, because that's what they do in the rainforest, is they clear them out. They're clearing them out for whatever chemicals or lumber or whatever. Mm-hmm. But of course, they're there to protest the native tribes that are being displaced.
Yes.
Fair enough. And they're going to stream it. Like, they've got this like well-run idea, really.
Yeah.
Would they got suits that matched what they were wearing. They put on these masks. And they basically waited until the workers went on break or something, and then just kind of handcuffed themselves to trees and to the machinery, and we're all good. Like, you know, this is the plan, you know,
Yep.
and it's going to work. And really, I think Alejandro's big plan was we need to bring Justine along because her dad works for the UN.
Yeah, and she's like, I can get him to bring attention to
Yeah,
it.
it's like we do this, we've got an outlet.
Yeah.
So they get to the Amazon and things are already kind of off, you know, and we're viewing all this through Justine's eyes. She's kind of our um, quote unquote hero, not hero of the movie per se, but just she's our main character. She's got very large eyes, like
Yeah.
um, so we're seeing it through Justine's eyes. We get there and like we meet Carlos, who's a drug dealer. He's the one that's kind of funding this whole operation. They go, like I said, they went to Peru. They take a boat to the construction. Like it's kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but I've never been on the inside of a activism group, so I don't really know. Maybe this is how it goes. You know, they get there and they find that the chemical company has hired like a private militia to protect the workers so that they don't get attacked by locals or anything like that. As they're chaining themselves to the trees and the equipment, and naturally Justine's like padlock won't lock.
Yeah.
Everybody else's locks, hers won't lock. So she's easy to remove.
Yes.
And again, it's Justine. So we've got ties to the UN. She's our main character or whatever. She almost gets killed.
Yeah.
And in almost getting killed, because they are live streaming this, like the protest goes viral in what could be, even for 2013, the fastest anything has gone viral in the history of anything.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, I think I even commented to my wife like, that was quick.
It was very quick. It was like, boom, videos on viral.
In 2013, social media platforms were still somewhat limited.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a TikTok or a Snapchat or anything like that 10 years ago. And so getting this live stream video in front of people's eyes in real time to go viral, it's like, okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't go viral, they would have been murdered.
Very much so.
And the movie would have been over and whatever. So instead, they're just arrested. Okay, they've brought attention to the issue. They win, basically.
Yeah.
They get arrested. Carlos bribes the police to release them. They all hop on a plane. Like they're celebrating, as they should. They hop on a plane, and the plane's engine explodes. And really a pretty well done, like, camera inside the plane crash scene. Like, you could tell when, like, the girls' hairs are all, like, their ponytails are flying all over the place. And the plane crashes. And this is really where our movie starts. Like, the whole purpose of our
Finally.
movie. Yeah. We're like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, we're... and you've trimmed a lot of just extra out.
Yes. There was her roommate that... It doesn't matter. Like, it's just fluff. The whole thing prior to this is just creating a scenario to get all of these college kids to the Amazon rainforest. The plane crashes. Several people die in the crash, including Carlos.
And it's some pretty cool, I don't know if it was Carlos, but like someone took like a broken off piece of like debris like through the head.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was gory.
It's really, I mean, the special effects with this movie were really good because I mean, everything looked so real.
As we go through, and knowing that you're kind of a gorehound special effects fan, which I am too, start watching the credits to see who's doing the special effects.
Okay.
That stuff matters. Howard Berger and Greg Nicotero did the special effects for this movie. Howard Berger and Greg Nicotero are 2/3 of the founders of K&B Effects. K&B Effects is, at this time of the world. We're like the go-to special effects department. If you wanted realistic gore, you went to K&B.
Okay.
K&B is responsible for, I believe, all of the special effects for The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Greg Nicotero has directed many episodes of The Walking Dead. So Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger are two names you're going to want to. If you see them in the credits, you know you're in for some visual fun.
Yeah.
If we wind back in time a little bit, other names that show up, if you see them in the credits, get excited, are Tom Savini. Tom Savini is, if you were to go to like his Wikipedia page and look at his filmography, Tom Savini is a name you're going to be like, wow, this guy was busy all the time because he was good. I mean, he's great at what he does. So Tom Savini's the name. Rick Baker's won, I know, at least one Oscar for special effects. Rick Baker is, I would put it same time as Tom Savini. Rob Bottin is another one. You see those names, you know that the special effects are taken care of. The movie may be trash. The movie may be absolute garbage.
Yeah.
But your special effects are going to be top notch. They're creative, they are realistic, and they're just inventive, and it's just well done. So those are names you're going to want to recognize. So I know, like I said, K&B Effects did the effects for this movie, so it did not surprise me at all that when you see a piece of debris go through someone's head, they're going to show it, and it's going to look like, oh man, that looks so realistic. That's what they're good at. So you'll pick up on that stuff the more, like, obviously we're 50 some episodes in, but as we're watching, if you're seeing things that have a lot of gore, watch the opening credits, and just because they always say like effects done by whatever. If you see their name in there, you'll be like, oh, this will be fun. I do. I still get excited when I see their names. So, so the plane crashes. A lot of people die. Not all of them. Carlos is dead. They made a big deal about one of the guys had a GPS phone.
Yes.
To where you get no cell service, but I'm on a GPS phone, so it's okay. And then what happens?
This is kind of where the tribe you're introduced to, because Kara hears something and she is immediately killed by one of the tribe members.
Yeah, gets it just an arrow. Right. Yeah. I think it was right through the throat.
Yeah. And the rest of the tribe emerges out of the wood forest and just tranquilizes all of the others.
Immediate tranquilizer.
And they're captured and they wake up in the village.
Well, they wake up. Well, they wake up in the boats.
Oh yeah, they're in the boat.
They've got these canoes, and there's two villagers per canoe. But yeah, so we've got when Justine wakes up, the guy that's paddling her boat, we find out is almost like the lead male of the village. And of course, these people are as stereotypically tribal as you can get. They use natives, which was good.
I did read that somewhere. They use a true native tribe.
Right. So they did hire locals to do this, but even then they probably really jazzed them up in terms of makeup.
Yes.
A lot of everybody's basically painted red. They've got a lot of body dysmorphia with piercings and so it's you're supposed to be unsettled. So they wake up in the boat, like you said, and then they're brought to the village. And everybody's imprisoned.
Yeah.
They're just basically put in this big bamboo cell, except Jonah, who Jonah is probably Justine's only friend. He was just really polite, but he was also a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And the tribe, they liked that he was a bigger guy.
Yeah, because as I think someone, maybe it was Alejandro, had said, listen, if they're eating on him, we'll be good for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, so like the leader of the tribe comes out, and again, she's this like witch doctor looking, just very stereotypically like native tribe, like
Yeah.
rainforest tribe. Um, she comes out and like gouges his eyes out, like pulls them out of his head and eats them.
Yeah.
And then he starts screaming, so she cuts his tongue off.
Uh,
And then they lay him down and they chop off his arms and his legs. They remove his head. And then basically, like, spice him up.
uh-huh. I
And
was gonna say he's like a Thanksgiving turkey.
yeah, and then they, like, basically make a luau. They
Mm-hmm.
take this large, like, Jonah's got a large body, and they cook him up. Like, they put him in a fire oven, and then we fast forward to slicing, like basically they're slicing skin off his
Yeah.
body, off his thighs. Like they just cooked him up, and
Yeah.
and they're just
It was
content. Like
so
it's
gross.
dinner time.
Like I am not unsettled or like turned off by a lot of gore.
Yeah,
But this part where I'm watching and she like cuts the tongue out and then she lifts it up
yeah,
and the camera kind of switches views and like you just see her like drop it, like dangle and then drop it down into her mouth and
yeah.
just eat it. I was like, "Ugh." Oh my gosh, it was so disgusting. And meanwhile, like Casey's fixing supper and I'm just thinking like, I don't think I can eat after this. Like
Right.
this is so disgusting.
Oh, did we find the beginnings of your limit?
I think so because it was nasty.
Again, the effects were done well enough that you could convince yourself that like, oh man, they're really eating that guy. I mean, you
Yeah,
knew they
like I
weren't,
mean,
but you're like, man,
right, like that tongue was chewy. Like it was to
hmm.
watch her
Oh
eat
yeah,
it. Like
you
you
could
could tell
tell
she was
it was
chewing it.
gummy for sure.
Ugh.
That there was some substance to it. Uh, so naturally, everybody in the prison cell is freaking out.
Hmm.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And to make matters worse, Alejandro now drops on him because he's really unfazed by all this for some
Yeah,
reason. He drops on him that we aren't really like I'm not really an activist. We were here. This was a staged protest. He fools them all basically. He he put together a staged protest by a rival chemical company that his father runs,
yeah,
so that basically this chemical company would be out, his father would be in, they'd make all the money, which would then like fund Alejandro's other activism projects. Like he really wants to be an activist, but he's a capitalist first.
yeah,
They don't really go together. Then we really from here on we just get the rest of the movie is pretty much, can anybody survive before the tribe does their stuff? I mean,
yeah,
that's the rest of the movie. There's four women left. They strip them down and they stand them up and they basically do like a virginity test.
yeah,
We're not going to get into specifics as to what they did, but there was a claw and checking for bleeding.
yeah.
And they get to Justine, and did she pass the test? Did she fail the test? Like,
I know. It's like I'm thinking they were almost like looking for a
I
virgin.
think so.
And so yeah, I think she passed the
Because
test
why would you do a virginity test if you weren't
yeah,
looking for a virgin? And so she now gets, I guess, some kind of special treatment. They take her away because they're going to basically perform genital mutilation on her.
yeah,
Um, and then Amy and Samantha, the other two whatevers, they're put back in the prison cell. They're put back in the cage, and while they're over here, and they're again doing very uncomfortable things with Justine,
yes,
which are to make us queasy.
yes.
They paint her like completely white, like she's getting special treatment.
Hmm.
Everybody's still panicking, naturally, except Alejandro, because he's like, well, just guys, the other company's coming. Like, don't freak out. It'll all be okay. Eventually they'll get here and we'll be freed.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to wait. They don't trust Alejandro as it is, so they really don't want to wait. And so they decide they're going to, like, they have an idea to escape. Because, again, this cell is not, like, sealed tight.
Right.
There's room to escape.
Correct.
But there's also watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like they've got the tranquilizer darts. Like, that's just not an easy path. I don't know how long it's been, but they do attempt an escape during like a downpour.
And I mean, the one who escapes is almost like she gets out of the cell.
She gets very far. She gets all the way to the boats.
And she, I mean, until she is caught and, I mean, brought back, but not put back in the cell.
Yeah, Justine is returned, but Samantha does escape.
Correct. And
so we think.
Yes. And so they are later being fed.
Yeah.
And was it Amy, who is a vegan, is kind of like skeptical about eating it, but it's also like, just do it. Like, this is do or die.
I know you're a vegan, but this isn't normal circumstances.
Right.
You just eat.
Yeah. And while she's eating, she realizes there's a piece of skin in the food.
Right.
And she notices that Samantha's tattoo is on that piece of skin.
Yeah, Samantha did not escape.
And so Amy cracks the bowl on the ground and immediately just slits her throat.
Right.
With a shard of it.
And bleeds out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, like it's just gone.
Right.
So Lars comes up with a good idea, I thought.
Yeah, Lars is the one that had the GPS phone.
Yes. And he just basically stuffs Amy full of marijuana.
He's got a bunch of weed. They got a plan.
Yeah.
And it was pretty gross shoving it down her throat.
It was.
Like,
yeah,
not
it
only
was
did
gross.
they like push it in as far as they could, but then they got a stick. And they're like plunging it down into her.
And you can kind of hear like some, you can hear
Yep, it was pretty gross.
Yeah. But as the tribe cooks Amy and eats her, the Lars plan succeeded as the tribe is now extremely high.
Yeah, I mean, you get the vibe that obviously this is probably their first interaction with marijuana.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if there was enough marijuana for just the residual smoke from the cooking to get the entire village stoned.
I know. Unless just I don't know. Just because I'm not a person that
I don't either
enjoys that stuff, but I don't really know when you bake it, like when they're eating Amy.
Right. Yeah. I've heard the potency is more when you bake it. But again, was it enough marijuana? Like, what if you ate part of her knee?
Exactly. I mean, because they're passing out. They're not just sitting there. Yeah. They're passed out.
If you ate her calf, are you getting high from this? Or is it? I don't know. I don't know. She wasn't marinated in it.
No.
Oh.
So now, as a majority of this tribe's passed out, we've got a couple of them that decide to escape. Well, 3 out of the 4 that are left. And as the third one is heading out of the cell, Alejandro gets a tranquilizing arrow from one that had been shot and stabs Lars to keep him there.
Yeah, because Justine, Daniel, and Lars tried to escape. They were leaving Alejandro behind because they're sick of him.
Yeah.
And then this is when it really hits him that I don't want to be alone. Like, you guys might actually get away.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
only being.
leaving me the only food.
Yeah. The intoxicated villagers come to, and they now have the munchies.
Right.
Uh,
Like Lars even I think it was either Lars or Alejandro even say that like they've got the
yeah.
munchies.
Yeah, like they come over and just start playing with Lars at first, and then like they kind of get closer, and he's like, "Oh crud, they've got the munchies,"
Right.
and they just eat him
They
alive.
just yep. And again, pretty gory.
Yeah.
A lot of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whatever. You know, they were hungry. It's your fault, Lars. You're the one that got them stoned.
Yeah.
The other two, Justine, again, our main character, and Daniel, just another guy, really. Daniel was the one that had all the weed. But Justine and Daniel, they get back to the crash site. Again, they're looking for the GPS phone.
Yeah.
They get back to the crash site. They do find the phone, but they get captured again. This is where Justine really gets the special treatment.
Yeah.
They paint her, like dress her up in tribal attire. My only guess is because she's a virgin. That's the only thing I can see.
Yeah. But you know what? She also like she had that little whistle thing. I mean, I'm not saying that impressed them, but she related, I felt like, to some of the kids.
She did
because,
try, yeah. There was the one
yes.
boy, because she had a
Yes.
necklace with a whistle on it from her mom, and she did relate to the little boy that way. Daniel he just gets tied to a stake, like, and then they break his arms and legs,
Yeah.
and then dump a bunch of ants on him. And this was probably the worst special effect of the movie because it clearly was CGI, and the rest of it really looked fairly practical.
Yeah.
But these ants just eat him alive.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, that's a little goofy. Like, part of it, like, guys, that's food. Why would you waste food? It's not like you could go to the grocery store and get another human.
Yeah.
They had cattle, but they apparently weren't eating the cattle. So, Alejandro wasn't wrong. The other chemical companies clearing crew shows up. And this throws the tribe. Now you've got tribe versus man versus machine.
Yeah.
The tribe decides they got to go fight. Just kind of a weird turn, really. Like,
Yeah.
it just kind of come out of nowhere. Like the crew's here, and then suddenly the tribe's like, "Let's go fight them."
Yeah, they bring back a head and speak some of their like native language, and then like they all just take off.
Right. This is where Justine, she got the attention of that little boy with the whistle, and he basically lets her go.
Yeah, he is sympathetic for her, I think.
Daniel, who's again being eaten by ants, just begs to be killed because these ants are just eating him alive. Not like piranhas do in the movies, where it's like 10 seconds later and you're just bone.
Yeah.
So he's begging her, "Kill me, just kill me." Of course, she doesn't want to do that.
No.
But the kid does. Like, he takes Daniel out, puts him out of his misery. Alejandro is again begging Justine, "Help me, help me." She just is like, "Screw you, man."
Yeah.
The only reason she got involved in this is because she found him attractive. So she just leaves him. There was something they saw early on when they were in the boats on their way, where they saw like a black jaguar or something.
Yes.
It was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It served no purpose at all.
No.
As she's leaving, she comes across this black jaguar, and he lets her go. Like, it served nothing. There was no purpose for this, but whatever. She gets to like the battle of the militia versus, and it's the same militia. It's the same militia that had like attacked her earlier.
Yeah.
Tribe versus militia. Most of the tribe is now dead. And she has the phone. Even though she looks like a tribal person, she convinces the militia leader that she's American.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they threaten to kill her. Well, she takes that GPS phone and pretends to film it so that they would stop fighting.
Yeah.
And then they do eventually, like, fly her. Like, they fly her out of there. They save her. Then we cut to, like, this, again, kind of a pointless scene at the end where she's meeting with her dad and the UN and other government people, whatever. They're interviewing her. And she's like, I was the only survivor of the plane crash. The natives were super friendly. Like, they were great hosts.
Yeah.
They helped us. Everything was perfect until the chemical company's militia came in and murdered them all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get where she's coming from. Like, she's attempting to be a true activist here.
Yeah.
Of, like, the tribe reacted the way they were going to react.
Yes.
It was our fault for being there. And by spinning it the way she did, she blames it on the chemical company instead of the tribe.
Yep.
Hoping that they would get left alone.
Yeah, and as she's walking down the road later, she sees a fresh group of activists with Alejandro's face all over their shirts.
He hasn't even been gone that long. Like, they don't even know. Like, they don't even know what happened to him, and they're already like, "Free Alejandro." Like, it's like, yeah, she was gone long enough, but he was the only. Like, what about Free Lars or Free?
Yeah,
Kara?
what about Lars, who, I mean, actually had a good idea.
Yeah. I did not. I didn't stick around after the credits, but apparently there was.
Oh, you didn't? I did.
Did you?
Yes.
What'd you see?
Yes, there is a phone call from Alejandro's sister, and she's like, "Hey, is this Justine? This is so-and-so, Alejandro's sister, and we just got news that a satellite took a picture, and it looks just like Alejandro, and it, like, the satellite, like, zoomed in, and you could see Alejandro, and he's, like, painted in all black."
Oh, so he's like their new, like, tribal warrior leader.
Yep.
Whatever.
And then it just shuts off.
So, is he a cannibal now? Because we never saw him eat anybody, and he was the last one left.
He must be. He must have proven himself.
I guess good for him. Nice job, Alejandro.
He was the last one standing, so
right.
He was saved.
That's the Green Inferno.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it had a lot of potential.
It did. Yeah, it did. I feel like the picture, or like what would be the cover of the movie, is scarier or like more horrifying than the actual movie was.
Right. I mean, was it gory? Yes.
But that's really the only thing about it.
But like, did this movie create an atmosphere that made me afraid of the tribe? No.
Because you won't catch me going there.
Well, not only that, but like once they ate Jonah,
yeah,
they basically just resorted to doing their normal everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't this like venomous, murderous tribe. No. They were like, you came into our land, we're cannibals, we're going to eat on you, and it's like that cage turned into their pantry, really.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't like, it's like they weren't the villains.
Yeah, no, they weren't. Like, they were being moved out from their home, and they were just protecting themselves by whatever it took, basically.
It's like in the movie Jaws, which is an amazing movie, by the way, but in the movie Jaws is the villain because even though, yes, people are swimming in the ocean and they're on the beaches, like, Jaws comes from the depths of where they live, and he like comes to where the people are. Like, he's on attack. Even though, yes, people are technically in his house, the ocean, but like, so like, yeah, you could see Jaws as the villain. In this movie, the tribe didn't go get them. They unfortunately came to the tribe, and the tribe was just protecting their area. They did the same thing when the militia came in. They were just protecting themselves.
Yeah. Like, the scary thing is that, like, there are probably tribes out there that are like this.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
I've had,
like...
Yeah.
they, I don't know, there's one that I've seen on TikTok, like, horrifying photos taken seconds before. And it's like one of them was someone famous who went in and, like, kind of shadowed a tribe and then they ate him.
Right.
Like, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of scary to think there are real cannibals out
Well,
there.
and like this movie's only 10 years old, and
Yeah.
even by reading some of the trivia, like they've never, like before they showed up to start filming, like they've never seen a film camera before. Like
Yeah.
they
So,
just there really were like a rainforest tribe that
yeah.
they were real.
So it just kind of blows my mind, like how I'm curious to know, like, how they got them to do so well.
cooperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, it could have very well turned into like the movie.
Oh yeah.
And we go in and approach this tribe and they eat us.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's I mean, the world is a big place.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it feels fairly small.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could travel anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days where you'd be gone for months on a ship. Like, no, we could get there. You could fly pretty much anywhere you want in less than 2 days. But to think that all of the things that we take for granted, the novelties that we have. I mean, like, look what we're doing now. You're at your house, I'm at my house.
Yeah.
It's like we're on computers, we're recording ourselves, like everything that is included in what we're doing right now. There are people on this earth that have no concept.
Right.
Like they have no concept of what refrigeration is.
Yeah.
They have no concept. They've never seen a brick.
Mm-hmm.
They just none. No concept. And we're sitting here on our own like, let's talk about this Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
Where they took $5 million and made a movie about this, and the people in this movie have never, like, they don't even know what a movie is until these people showed up. They're almost like, even if they spoke English, they're like, so wait a minute. You guys live in a world, you live in a country where everybody is so well off that you take extra money and pretend to do things,
and we're out here like killing people to eat them because we have no food.
It's like we're eating our own out here.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it blows my mind. Like, to think about it too much hurts my brain. That it's like, this world's not that big.
No.
And we're like, this movie cost $5 million to make. They made $12.9 million on it. So it's like, you made it for $5 and made an extra $8.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, and I could probably dig and find out, but I'm not that curious, of like, what did the tribe get out of it?
Yeah.
What do you do? Even if you leave them $1 million, it's useless to them.
It's not worth anything, because what are they going to do with it?
What do you do? Do you send them $500,000 worth of cattle?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, you have your brain switches to like, well, we have to offer these people something.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just pay them. Like, are you a union member? A what? Can you act in our film? Do you have a union card? I don't understand what you mean. What's a card? What's a union? Like, it's so, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And at the same, because it's like they filmed this in Chile. It's just South America.
Yeah.
Like we the United States does not have anything like this in our country. Like, the closest we get is homeless, I believe.
Yeah.
The closest we get is homeless. Even in like the deserts of Arizona, there aren't, like, to my knowledge, there are not still like uncivilized nomadic tribes wandering the deserts of the United States.
Right.
Like if you're in the US, you have a concept of what things are.
Yes.
But this is South America, which, whatever. But it's like, you've got major cities like, you've got Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. You've got major cities in the same continent that you have rainforest tribes. oh, it's just fascinating, fascinating. Um, so that's, I guess, the fun spin I get out of this is it's like we got to see, like, these weren't actors pretending to be tribesmen; these were legit tribesmen pretending to be actors.
Yeah.
Um, so it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. What do you grade this thing?
I'm gonna give this a B minus. I loved the gore, like I've said,
Uh-huh.
but I just felt like there wasn't really anything else. Like
Right,
it was just gore.
I agree. Yeah, there was it, at bet like there was gore. There was a little bit of like, ooh, that guy looks spooky.
Yeah.
Ooh, that lady looks creepy. You know, um, but you weren't scared. I wasn't
Right.
anyway.
No.
I watched this movie and I'm like, I'm not worried about getting eaten. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, it is what it is. It was fun, but I'm gonna go with C. I think it had the first half hour, 40 minutes were pretty useless. Like I didn't need to get to know Justine. I don't need to
No.
know her crush. I don't need to know her roommate. Like none of that really mattered. That's not why people watch this movie. Then we get to the activist stuff up to the plane crash. I'm like, okay, you could have started there. That would have been okay.
Yes.
You know, I didn't need 25 minutes of learning Justine's motives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when the plane crashes, through eating Jonah was probably the best part of the film. Because
Yeah.
that's what's like, we're establishing the tribe. We don't
Mm-hmm.
yet know that they're just common. Like, they're just normal people in their neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Um, and so the eating Jonah part was like, whoa, like, uh-oh, it's doomed. These people are doomed. But then after they ate Jonah, they were full.
Yeah.
And then they were like content. They're like, we'll just go about our thing. Like, it wasn't like they just kept murdering people. They really only killed them to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the people that died, like Daniel died because he ran away. Samantha died because she ran away. Amy died because she killed herself. Lars died because they had the munchies.
Yeah.
But really, it's like everybody that died by the hands of the tribe, they died for food.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it had a good build up, and then it just kind of sputtered away. And then they tried to make something out of it with like man versus machine, tribe versus militia, blah blah blah. It lost its way.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go see. It wasn't terrible, but even my wife was like, I thought it'd be better. So, what lesson do you have?
The lesson that I'm going to take from this, because like Justine would have never been put in this situation had she not almost kind of been trying to like impress Alejandro,
Yeah.
is like just don't do something to impress someone or try to make yourself look like someone else. Just, and I think I've said this before, like just stay true to yourself,
Yeah.
because had she done that and like, hey, I'm attracted to you, then I don't think she would have ended up where she was.
Right. She definitely, and this is not a dismissal of college freshmen everywhere, but I think it's important that they made her a freshman
Yes.
because she was trying to fit into a world she wasn't ready to and
Yep.
pretend, and it obviously backfired.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I like that lesson. My lesson is, it's okay to go out of your comfort zone, but don't abandon your comfort zone. Like, this was a situation where these kids were way in over their head. Going to Peru, working with a drug dealer. Like, they were following Alejandro's lead.
Mm-hmm.
He was dubious. And it's like where they ended up, they were scared. When those militiamen came, they were scared. They clearly were a ragtag group of activists that really didn't know what to do once they activated. And then the plane crash and etc. But it's like you said, Justine's issues could have been avoided.
Yeah.
possibly all of them because of the UN thing. But once we found out that Alejandro's dad had ulterior motives anyway. But Justine definitely could have stayed out of harm's way. The kids could have stayed out of harm's way if they would have just opted to stay in their sandbox. Like,
Yeah.
protest stuff at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, the rainforest is precious and we shouldn't, blah blah. But there's enough to protest in the United States.
Yes.
So start there, make a difference at home, and then spread your wings. So yeah, just comfort zones are important, but don't destroy them.
Right.
So what do you want to do next month? Notice I said month and not week.
Use up all my free time watching horror movies.
Oh, that's gonna happen for sure. Yeah, budget. That's my tip. Budget your time. We are going to next month. I think we alluded to it last week or last show, I should say. It feels like it's been a
Yeah,
month.
it was either during recording or it was like right after.
Yeah, we talked about the bones of it. What we're going to do next week and each week through October is we are going to watch 7 horror films a week, one each day. And when we record, we are going to briefly go over the movies we've seen during the week and then do a little class rank. If you're new to the show, we grade a movie, we give a little lesson. We're going to do the same. We're going to probably still quickly grade the movie.
Yeah.
We won't spend half hour talking about it.
I was gonna say keyword briefly.
Yeah.
Like we've been on here for 47 minutes. I promise each 7.
Yeah,
will not be
we're still
47
looking
minutes.
at probably 45 to an hour long podcast anyway.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be rushing through the movies, even if we kind of come up with a scaffold of real quick plot overview, even if it's like from IMDb, just real quick plot overview, and maybe we share one thing we liked, one thing we didn't like, give a grade, something like that. Maybe we'll skip the lesson.
We'll do the sandwich effect. Parent teacher conferences.
Yeah.
What's good?
Yeah.
What needs worked on? What's good again?
There you go. And so yeah, we'll drop something like that. But we're going to cover 7 movies each week in an effort to get through 31 movies for the month. I know I can do it. It's going to be tough this year because I got other things going on. It's going to be tough,
Yeah.
but we can do it. I think in lieu of that, I think we keep the movies a secret until we cover them.
Okay.
Instead of saying we're going to
Yeah.
cover these 7 movies next week, I think we just say tune in next week and hear what we're covering, and then we'll give the rank.
All right. Do we want to say how we picked them, or are we keeping?
Yeah, we
everything
could do
secret?
that. That's fair. What you came up with the pattern, so I'll let you share.
So we will have 2 movies that I've picked, 2 movies that Mike has picked, 2 movies that are just random horror films from his collection, and then 1 from the scratch-off poster.
Yeah. So we're still doing our rotation pretty much of, you pick one, I pick one, shuffle, poster. But like you said, we got to get 7 out of it somehow. So I still need to fill out my portion of the calendar. You've got the rest of the month,
I filled out every.
which is fantastic because, I'm excited to share in this. So yeah, we will be back next week to talk about 7 movies. We'll share what we thought quickly. We'll share a plot quickly. We'll grade them. And then we'll rank them at the end. And then we'll do the same thing the next week. It is kind of nice that we're going to cover this this way because if we've got some time, there might be some days you get 2 movies knocked out.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of get a little reprieve in there. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Yeah, I definitely need to fill in my 2 for this week, and we'll go from there. But I'm looking forward to it. Really am. You got anything to share before we get out of here?
Nope. A new month starts tomorrow.
I know.
From the day that we're recording. And
And
it's kind of crazy. September's flown by.
Yes, it has. We are 1 week away from our 1 year anniversary.
Oh wow.
1 week.
Yeah, because it was yeah.
October.
Because last time I had looked up like the day that I tweeted.
Yep. Yeah. October 6th was the date we dropped Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
So, I mean, we obviously recorded
That
prior to
was
that, but
that was one of the random shuffles
Did
that
it
came
pop
up
up?
on your horror thing, and I was like, oh,
I've seen that movie.
the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was fun. So we got some good ones though. Looking at the list, you won't be disappointed. I will say, like I told you earlier today, a lot of them I've not seen, or I've seen once and pretty much forgotten. So it'll be like a new watch for me, but it's gonna be fun. And when we get off, I'm gonna fill in mine. So I know of a
Awesome.
couple
And
I
if you're
definitely. What's that?
just to surprise the listeners, I've not seen any on the list so far, so
Ooh.
don't be surprised. But
That is fun. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so you haven't seen any. There's only 3 on here that I've seen multiple times thus far. So that's pretty good for 31 movies.
yeah, it is.
Out of 31, 28 of them are going to feel new. Like I couldn't remember enough to tell you.
Yeah.
So I got to make sure we've got access to all of them too. So obviously, do we obviously? Is that? I mean, did you find them on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So far, so good.
Well, the ones that I sent you that I picked, I think you had looked at to see if you could find them streaming
Okay.
somewhere.
I'll double check it. So, all right. Well, social media wise, Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter,
Yeah.
is where you could find us. Education podcast, almost a year strong now. Almost a year strong. But no, we'll be back next week for week 1 of horror class rankings.
Yes.
So for Education, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.